16 hours nonstop on United Airlines. It's the longest flight on any US airline. But this aviation marathon left us with more than just jet lag. We also have regrets.
Hello, jet setters. I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com. This is the longest flight on any U.S. airline, and you're coming along. We're flying with United Airlines on the 11th longest flight in the world. They go to far-flung places like Singapore and South Africa, but only one flight can be their longest.
Where are we going?
Where everything's bigger. We're going to Texas.
Today's journey will cover more than 8,000 miles across 16 time zones to reach Space City, that's Houston, Texas. But we start in Sydney, where check-in at the United Airlines counter was a smooth process.
Not too long ago, we traveled with Delta on their longest flight. It's currently the 15th longest flight in the world. It's between Johannesburg and Atlanta, so it's just about time we try it with United. How do you think you're going to feel after nearly a day in the friendly skies?
I mean, to be honest, probably not too good. I don't think there's any way to feel great after that long of a flight, that many time zones. It's 8 in the morning in Sydney right now on Tuesday. It's 4 p.m. in Houston on Monday evening. Time to go to hit some lounges.
Leaving the United States on a Polaris flight with United means you get access to a Polaris Lounge.
Polaris lounges are comfortable spaces. Now, we're fast-forwarding a bit because we'll connect in Houston to head home to Washington, D.C., which means we'll be able to enter during our layover. Now, Houston has a lounge because it's a major hub for United, which is also why it's one end of America's longest flight. It's a beautiful space, if a bit small. There's a buffet, a bar, and of course a dining room with a pretty robust and appealing menu. We even had time for a quick lunch. I had the salmon, which was flavorful without being too spicy, and Suzanne went for the burger, which we're sorry to say has certainly shrunk with time. The best part of this space has to be the views though, but a close second is that all of this is included in the price of your ticket. Meanwhile, back in Sydney.
But leaving Sydney means you get access to not one but two different lounges. We're going to check out the Air New Zealand Lounge and the Singapore KrisFlyer Lounge.
And that does require a bit of a walk, but of course, there's plenty to see here. Our first stop was the Air New Zealand Lounge, which made us yearn to return to New Zealand.
The main purpose of this lounge visit? Coffee. They just do it different down under. This coffee is delicious. Also, mystery green juice. Ooh.
There's plenty of seating here, a substantial buffet with a live cooking station too, and the Eggs Benedict were worth writing home about. There's a bar, along with self-service drinks, and of course, views for days. But when given the chance, it's always a good idea to go lounge hopping.
Lounge number 2.
This is the Singapore Airlines Silver Kris Lounge. Now, it's smaller, but still has a buffet with a bit more of an Asian-inspired menu. The bar is self-serve, but I was able to get much closer to the window here, which meant better plane spotting.
And the purpose of this lounge visit is to enjoy everything that is Singapore Airlines. I would say Singapore, best airline in the sky.
And the star of this lounge visit? Dumplings.
If you only have time to visit one, the Singapore Airlines Lounge pales in comparison to the Air New Zealand one.
It's time to get out of here. There's always time for a quick last-minute spring roll, so Suzanne's grabbing some from the buffet.
Now, yes, we are booked into business class for this flight, which is a huge help on such a long flight. This is one worth saving up for, and we did. We're using a points redemption in this flight, and we'll share more about how we did it, and frankly, what a great deal we got.
And that's also where today's sponsor, MaxRewards, comes in. They have an answer to the question we're all asking. How do we get to the point where we have enough points to book a trip like this? Because of the app's rewards dashboard, I know my real-time travel potential. You see, a trip like this requires points across multiple currencies, and because of the rewards dashboard, I can see everything from all of our cards in one place. That means we knew we had the ability to book this trip before we even started looking for the availability. Also, thanks to the benefits tracker, I stopped paying for services my cards are covering. For example, I no longer pay for travel insurance or baggage protection because MaxRewards consolidates all those benefits in one place. Also, with auto activation of offers, I'm finding money I didn't even know I had. So few people take advantage of the offers of their credit cards because you have to click into the issuer's website and then scroll through manually to find them. But with MaxRewards Gold, it does it automatically across Amex, Chase, Citi, and others. Head to the website below to get 25% off MaxRewards Gold plus a 7-day free trial. Now, let's get back to the airport. Looks like we've got a bus gate, which is great news. Gets us out on the ramp. I'm not complaining about that at all. But it is time to board this bird, just, via bus. We'll start the timer when we get on board. So strange that the longest flight on any U.S. carrier starts at a bus gate. No love for non-hub carriers.
Once we were downstairs, though, the boarding process was pretty quick, and we were on the bus in no time at all. Soon, we stepped off and started our climb up the stairs, which seemed like the right time to start the clock. In this seat, 10A will become very familiar over the next many hours. At each seat, you'll find 2 pillows, 2 blankets, and an amenities kit. Suzanne is just ahead of me in 9A. Her bulkhead seat offers extra space in bed mode, but as we'll soon discover, it also has some pretty significant drawbacks. United is rolling out a new version of Polaris very soon where they'll sell the bulkhead seats at an upcharge. We can't wait to find out if they'll actually be worth the premium. Meanwhile, back on board our plane, there are even slippers. Pajamas and a mattress pad are available upon request, which I recommend doing early. They can run out of these items.
Cheers. Here's home for the next 8,600 miles and 16 time zones.
I really enjoyed watching the action out on the ramp, but the bright and crisp screen and its many options were a nice distraction too.
That store's closed. We are locked in for long haul.
And as we pushed back, the excitement was palpable. This trip has started in earnest. We turned onto the active runway about 55 minutes after boarding.
No turning back now. Next stop, Houston.
We left the Australian coastline behind and I pulled out the sturdy tray table. Despite my family name, I promised to remain objective about the Brooks Brothers amenity kit. It's more robust than the one we got on Qantas First Class, and it's even got a crowd favorite, face mist. This really will feel nice, especially at the end of the flight.
I did not expect to like these headphones when I pulled them out, but they're actually pretty comfortable. These are really quite good. People sometimes ask if they can keep the headphones, and the answer is no. You have to give them back or leave them on the plane when you leave.
About an hour and a half after we boarded, service began with a hot towel and drinks from the bar. As always, never mistake criticism on this channel for a lack of gratitude. We just want to make sure you know what to expect if you decide to part with your hard-earned money or miles for an experience like this. United has been making waves by trying to elevate its reputation when it comes to premium onboard experience, and this wine list is part of that effort. Suzanne started with a glass of the Laurent Perrier champagne. Unfortunately, they don't offer dedicated champagne flutes here at United. I started with a gin and tonic. Suzanne used the drink service as an opportunity to get changed.
It's my first pair of United pajamas. You have to be on an extra long flight to get these. Going to Europe is not going to cut it. And I gotta say, they don't disappoint. The fabric's really soft. I like the color scheme. I gotta go 5 out of 5 on the pajama score.
Of course, pre-ordering is available, but if you don't get around to it, there are 4 choices on board. For lunch, Suzanne started with the prawns, which she said were seasoned well. I went with the burrata, which was not as flavorful as I would have liked. In both cases, our trays had a small salad and a bread service was offered too. Now, before the main course arrived, I asked for a glass of the Penfolds Cabernet Sauvignon, but the flight attendant stopped me and said I should try the one from Napa Valley instead. It wasn't on the menu, but I took a gamble and said yes. This is a great example of United surprising and delighting. At nearly $200 a bottle, this was a real treat. For her main course, Suzanne went with a braised beef short rib. Unfortunately, when it came, it was cold, bland, and dry. I went with a miso glazed salmon, which may not have been designed to look good on YouTube, but was still a really nice dish. In contrast to our flight with Qantas just a couple of weeks ago, the United crew kept the seatbelt sign on for most of the flight. When it came time for dessert, the menu left the caterers with a bit of room to be flexible. The seasonal plated dessert was a chocolate brownie with some orange sauce and a strawberry. Suzanne jumped at the chance for United's signature ice cream sundae.
And almost 3.5 hours into the flight, lunch is done. I think it might be time to try out the bed.
And we got busy setting them up.
All right, let's talk about this bed. On a flight this long, what an absolute treat to have a bed like this. And being in the bulkhead, I have a lot of extra leg room at my feet. They're not constricted at all. Where it is a little constricted is up here at the shoulders. Unfortunately, it's only 3 p.m. in Sydney, Tuesday afternoon, 11 p.m. Houston, Monday night. So it'd be great to get some sleep right now. I'm not tired.
But the crew still dimmed the window shades and turned off the lights for the next 12 hours or so. Wi-Fi is also available for $20. It is pretty slow and cut out for a good chunk of the middle of the flight. Flight attendants laid out a bunch of snacks as well as some bottles of water in the galley. It's important to stay hydrated on a flight this long.
Checking out the lavatory now, the bathroom, seems pretty clean. How about this flower? This is a nice touch that the flight attendants added. I think it's about time to catch some sleep. Ultra long haul flights like this one are won or lost in the middle, and that's where we are. We're about to really put it to the test because it's time for sleep. So I'll let you know in just a few hours whether this is a winner or a loser.
But only about 4 hours later, I woke up to the sound of the crew breaking ice and talking in the galley. In fact, they never really stopped talking to each other during our flight. In our experience on non-US airlines, you never hear flight attendants talking. Unfortunately, that was not the case with this crew.
It's about 8:45 p.m. in Sydney, so it's time for a midnight snack. I don't really know what this is. I'm having the beef ragu. It smells good. It's nice to have something, so I dig into this. Suzanne's having the buttered chicken. I had to go up to the galley to ask for these mid-flight snacks.
Might not be too impressive to look at, but it's flavorful, it's comforting, just the kind of snack you want on a flight like this. I like it.
Between our body clocks not cooperating and the noise, it was a struggle to get much sleep on this flight.
That's Suzanne lurking in the shadows. All right, I got about 4 hours of sleep. What you get?
Maybe one.
It's been tough. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning in Sydney. By the sound of it, the crew's getting ready for the pre-arrival meal. So we'll enjoy breakfast here in the friendly skies before we get into Houston in just a little bit.
It's gonna be a long day.
It's gonna be a long day.
You see, Suzanne's bulkhead seat may have been a winner for its extra legroom and bed mode, but the flight attendants used the overhead bin above her seat to store their personal belongings and then used this ledge to sort through them, throughout the flight, making sleep a challenge. In the new Polaris, United plans to charge more for these bulkhead seats, but we're skeptical of it being premium given the proximity to the galley and the accompanying noise. But today starts with a spray of face mist, a warm towel, and a choice of 3 breakfast options. Suzanne had the pancakes, which came with a rather unfortunate croissant. I went for the scrambled eggs and sausage. These were both hearty meals to end such a long flight.
Quick note about airline coffee. Every time I drink it on board, I get commenters telling me that it's going to kill me, that somehow the water they use is terrible. Now, you don't want to drink the water out of the lav. That's definitely true. Those sinks are not potable water. The water they use for the coffee is just fine.
As for Suzanne, she stuck to the cold brew.
A flight this long is surely expensive, and this one is. We saw prices as high as $7,500, but we didn't pay that. We paid 100,000 United miles, a great redemption for such a long flight. But no flight, no matter how cheap or expensive, is great unless it meets your expectations. Best way I know to measure that is the JebScore. Let's consider the lounge, the seat, the food, the in-flight entertainment, and the service.
When it comes to the lounge, let's rate the 2 in Sydney. They're both quite nice, but still not quite as nice as United's own Polaris lounges departing the US. 4 stars here. The seat is a solid offering even 10 years after its introduction, but there are newer and better business class seats that have come along in that time. The Polaris seat earns 4 stars. The IFE had plenty of movie options, but the relatively pricey Wi-Fi that cut out in the middle of the flight was a bit of a letdown. 3 stars here. Let's talk food. United seems to be trying harder in the food department, but it just isn't good enough to compete with the best business classes out there. 3 stars for food. And finally, the service. Unfortunately, it's become a pattern that the crews we've encountered on our international flights with United have just fallen short. It could be the positioning of our seats, the front of the cabin, near the galley, but it was just hard to get much sleep between the constant flight attendant chatter, their visits to the overhead bins and closets near our seats, and their not-so-quiet mid-flight ice bag hammering. I'm so sorry, but this crew earns 3 stars for service. So that's a total of 17 out of 25 possible stars.
How is it still Tuesday? And not even noon.
That is 16 hours on board. What a flight between now and the next time.
See you in the sky.